How's the offseason been from just a cultural standpoint and kind of getting guys all on the same page?
I think it's been really good, and it's been a long off season. Just with as you go through and you have new faces, coaches, staff, players. You see the continued development of guys that we've had on the team, and but really just bringing everybody together. Continuing to push to elevate the execution of our standard, and that's something that has been a big focus throughout this off season, because the standard can't change, and it won't change. And the expectation to go out every single day and to compete to win, to compete to be your best, regardless of the circumstance you find yourself in. And we've tried to create some challenging circumstances in the off season. It's been a great opportunity to see you guys come into their own. You work to kind of put their stamp and their identity within this team, and then seeing guys rally around that. As we're all trying to push to have our program where it needs to and deserves to be. And but I've been really pleased with our players. Grateful for our coaches and the work that they're putting into it, and excited for fall camp to get started.
What do you make of Tommy's vocal nature and what he's tried to do since his arrival, in the sense of getting himself integrated with the team while also trying to be a leader to some degree?
Yeah, I mean, I think Tommy's a young man that he pours everything he has into what's in front of him, and it's something I'm grateful for. And I watch him go to work on a daily basis. Watch him in meetings. I see him. The things he's doing away from the facility, and just trying to pour into his teammates, to be able to build the relationships, for them to get a sense of who he is, and for him to show how much that they mean to him is something that you want to see, especially at that position. But he's not going to hold back from what he believes in himself and the team, and obviously all things that are in front of us that we have to go accomplish. And it's one thing to have people that will say what they desire, but for me it comes down to the work. It comes down to the investment, and that's something I'm grateful for what I'm seeing from him on a daily basis, and just really making this moment, this team, everything that he can pour into it. He is.
Do you like when different leaders can lead in different ways, but when he's publicly confident and talking about Alabama and whatnot, do you like that's true to him, that's how he leads?
I think that at the end of the day, everybody's these guys are 18 to 22 year olds, and they're all at a different point of their journey, and whether it's the true freshman that's coming in, whether it's the fifth year senior, each of them have their own perspective, and ultimately they all desire to be the same thing. They want to be the best of them. They want to be able to make a positive impact on others. I love true confidence. That's something that I think is something that you need to have. And there's plenty of people that will tell you that they're confident. There's very few that will sit in front of you, oh no, I'm not. Most people are going to tell you that they are, but when it becomes true when you see it in the work, when you see it in the investment, when you see it on a daily basis of the willingness to pour it all in. And I think that if you're not confident in who and what you get to do, then obviously there's gonna be plenty of battles that you're gonna have to fight through as you work through it, as you go through the journey. But I think everybody has a different approach and how they I guess express that. But for us, I mean, I want it to be I want us to be humble in the work. And you can be confident in the things that you work to go do, but you got to be humble to do the work. And that's what I've seen, a great deal of humility within this team in how they've approached the work on the field, off the field, and building relationships. Because there's been examples of that in my past where maybe that hasn't showed up, and that is an absolute necessity to be able to go and be what you're capable of.
Were there
Coach,
any changes to how you guys approached this summer after last season's disappointment? Did you change anything about the structure in terms of activities, team building, anything like that?
Ironically, probably a year ago, we did a lot more forced team building. There was a reason, and this year I don't think we had to as much. but we still had opportunities to be able to have connection, to be able to, for guys to, for them to enjoy, the process, who they're getting to do it with. Last week I was able to have, kind of split up offense and defense coming over to the house and just to be around them, just to see their interactions. It was a great, great couple nights that we got to share together. And, for me to sit back and see how comfortable that our football team is together. I mean, you see it, obviously I go to the workouts, I see them on the field, I see how but I mean, this is a team that I think, genuinely, enjoys who they're getting to do it with. And I think that allows a heightened sense of work, investment, care and passion for all of what's making up this team. And so that gets me excited. But yes, there were some subtle changes, just, as you have new people, tying all things to schedule, accomplish things that we need. But, what I'm grateful for is I don't feel like I have to try to force leadership to emerge. And, and I think you said the differences between a year ago and this year. I mean, that's one thing that's really stood out to me, is that, we've got guys that, they're willing to pour in to each other. And when it's time to say something, you see a great response and, a heightened sense of accountability from the guys that are even speaking. And that's something that has to continue through fall camp, and then, everything pointing towards August 30th for, when we get to go put this team on display.
In terms of guys you brought here, I think people would probably say 2 guys they expected, 2 maybe more surprises. What have Earl and Richie done? What have they meant to the program this offseason that you wanted them here as representatives?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've embodied, so many great qualities through spring, winter program, summer of what we want this team to look like, what we want this team to be. Richie, unfortunately last year, I mean, he got to play 4 games and, played, as good as any, lineman we had during that time. And so, him coming back into the program for another year and just seeing, his heart. I mean, he embodies service, and it is, whether it's in the community, whether it's within his football team, whether it's within the guys that are on that offensive line. I mean, he's a natural leader, and it was something that those guys see him and they understand the work. I mean, even this spring, we were trying to, coming off the injury, there was times where we were trying to almost limit him and some of the things he was doing. But I mean, he was every opportunity that he could jump in, that he could be a part of, that he could, be active. I mean, he was present, and I think the huys respect his journey, and obviously how much it means, and he's been wonderful. And then Earl is a guy that we have huge expectations for, but he does it on the field, he does it off the field. With this new role and the new opportunity within this defense, I mean, I'm really excited for what this can be. And he's taken a lot of ownership there in that defensive backfield, and really proud of all that he's invested.
You and your staff done a tremendous job with recruiting. How important was Coach Malzahn, and any particular recruits that stood out the most for you so far, just arriving on campus?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously we had a good number of newcomers, and so for guys that have come in, whether guys in transfers, guys freshmen that have come in, I think that in the spring you got to see some young guys that really put great talent on display, and I think Javen Boggs is a guy that really stood out. Chase Lofton is a guy that I see those guys offensively really putting themselves in a great position. Usman Kroma, I mean, is a guy that has got here this summer, and just you see tremendous ability, great work ethic. I mean, those guys. I think have a real shot to be able to make a great impact here from the jump. Defensively, I think that when you look at the core guys, up front on that defensive line. I mean, I'm excited about each and every one of them. Now, where they're going to be, in regards to the impact this year, I do believe we'll probably have 2, 3, whether it's Juju Wynn has done a great job in coming in. I think that he's really got a chance to be a dynamic player. Excited for some of the steps I've seen from the Desirs. I think that they had a really good spring, and they're continuing to grow. And just what is that role? What's that opportunity going to look like? Whether it's for Jesse, for Tylon, both those guys, have great talent and potential. So, and then, I think just at each position, you can find guys that have come in that I think have a chance to make an early impact. But, I've really been pleased with those positions and those individuals.
How have the two coordinator hires impacted the program in the last 8 months that maybe you didn't anticipate when you hired those guys?
They pretty much come in and done what I expected them to do, and they are just two. They're great men, and Gus and all the experiences that he's had. A guy that's been a head coach. It brings another perspective of his focus right now is our offense and all the things that we're doing there, and be able to put our players in the best position to be successful. But he's also he's made some great I guess, to say suggestions, thoughts, different perspectives to be able to look at, just to continue to push all of what we're doing. And same with Tony. Tony's been, he's been one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. He's been multiple places. He's seen a lot of different things. He's got his beliefs of things that have been done, and these guys have come in and they've jumped into our program. And as we continue to build this together, I've got a very strong belief of what it has to look like, and in a lot of areas. And then obviously you'll be able to put that together to support the staff, to be able to support the players, and so that all of us can go be the best that we can possibly be. And when you're around great people that care about the student athletes, that that have a wonderful understanding of not only their specific discipline of what they're trying to do, but also with a big picture approach. I mean, it's exciting, and both those guys are extremely innovative in what they do. But even seeing them tie that to the strengths and talents of the players that we have, I mean, it's something that, like I said, I did expect that just from everything that I knew of them, and they've answered the call on a daily basis.
You guys were pretty dinged up in some areas in the spring. I guess where are you at now with the health standpoint? And I got to ask about Jason Jenkins specifically with his timeline.
Yeah, I'm pleased with where we are. And this spring there was, unfortunately we missed out on about 3 practices there at the end of spring that was expecting to get some guys back, but to be able to see as we got in the summer and the work that those guys are doing, building that cohesiveness among the group, I think has been good. We're going to have, majority of the guys, there might be a couple one-offs that might be limited. When we start up with fall camp, Jason will be one of those guys that's, he's progressing extremely well. He's probably farther ahead than most would have expected him at this point. And I am expecting to get really good work out of him, probably midway point through fall camp. And so barring any setback, he's put himself in a great position, and very confident in what he's doing and how he's moving, and excited for what that's going to be.
What day will you hit the field to start, and what do you want from your team the day they hit the field to start, in the sense of the way they approach it?
Yeah, so our first practice will be next Wednesday, and we will we'll report on Tuesday. Obviously got some meetings, some things to do administratively, but then when we get on the field on Wednesday, I want to see the continuation of guys fighting to go win every single thing that we do, and it's whether it's an individual period, whether it is the sitting in the meeting room, the walkthroughs. There needs to be a sense of desperation to give everything that you have for you to go win in that day. And there's going to be, just like in every day, like personally, professionally, obviously as you're continuing to develop as a football player, there's going to be wins and losses throughout the course of every day, of every practice. There's going to be good moments and bad, but when you bring that absolute passion and desire to respond and overcome and to leave everything that you have in it, that's what I need to see. And I need to see it in practice 1 when it's just helmets, and I need to see it practice 13 in the dog days of fall camp, when you're right there in the middle of it. I want that edge to show up, and we've been pushing that since January. It was something that was sought after and something that was demanded from every player and every coach that's a part of this football team, because at the end of last season, there are a lot of hard conversations that had to be experienced, and we had those conversations, and every person that's a part of this team, they know what to expect. They know what's going to be demanded out of them. And I'm talking, like I said, it's not just the players, it's the coaches, it's everybody involved, just for the best of us to show up. And I am grateful for the work. I'm grateful for everything that we've done up until this point. And just like in every media day, every coach that's going to sit in front of you is going to talk good about their feelings about a team. Well, I've got a lot of confidence in what it can be, right? And it's our job to go get it done.
Have you been able to get a sense during the summer of how the O-line group has been able to work since some of those guys weren't available?
Yeah, we have, and I mean, you don't get, during the summer you don't get to go against the defense like in the time where you can spend time on the field, but you can see even in just how those guys are communicating with each other, how they're working, the extra that they're putting in from a technique, fundamental. I mean, and the good thing is we've got guys in that group that have played a lot of football, and so even seeing them bring along some of the younger guys that we're going to need to count on. I mean, but the cohesiveness of that group and just the way that they've been gelling together, I think has been really good. And you can see the extra work that's gone in. And so, I mean, I'm very confident in what that group can be, and now having to do that against fast-moving people, and but once again, we're not sitting there hoping these guys are going to be able to do it. We've seen it. We know we've seen the good, we've seen the bad, and feeling that urgency and their push together is something that's very exciting.
Is there a leader that's emerged in that group?
I mean, the great thing is I think there's a number of them, but Luke Pettibone is somebody that I think is, he's next level, and he is. I love watching him come to work every day, and the urgency, the standard, the belief, the buy-in. He's answered the bell on everything we've asked him to do, and and it's been challenging. And that's one of the great things about even kind of my transition of not being just in with the offense as much as what maybe I have in the past. I got a chance to really connect with our players more individually than probably any time in my coaching career. And so being able to talk to guys and get a sense of who's making an impact on them, being able to talk to guys about what their experience, and Luke's somebody that even referencing back to our tour of duty. I mean, his sense of confidence in what he can do, and this guy has started multiple years and played at a high level, but his confidence has even grown because of the things that he's been challenged to do here, and the things that he knows that he can overcome and be able to accomplish. And every day he gets to go up against Darryl Jackson in spring practice, and he is he's going to be a great player for us this year. But he's one that and especially at that position, all the communication, all the knowledge. I mean, he's done a remarkable job.
So the
Time for a couple more.
So the adjustment you spoke about earlier, the adjustment not having to be in the offensive room only, has afforded you the opportunity to put your hands in a lot of different. How has that been transition?
Yeah, I think it's critical, and it is a new age of college athletics, and the amount of time that I spend in a day beyond just what the X's and O's are, and whether the recruiting aspect, the obviously the transition to rev share, the transition to all the different elements of the you talk about the team building, the different things that we're going to experience to make sure that every part of it is upholding the standard. And that's where, when I look back, every year you reflect to good, to bad, and we've experienced it all. I mean, and there's a lot of teams that will sit around and talk about what they're going to do to win a championship, but they never won a championship, right? And we've done that. We've experienced it. We've done it at a very high level, but we've also done it and where it was as bad as it could be. So you look and reflect and say, all right, where were the disconnects? And there were when I look back, there were too many elements a year ago that did not uphold the standard of what our football team needs to look like, how we need to play. I mean, like I said, there's gonna be plays where you get beaten. That's going to happen. That's a game of football. Good on good. But even in those plays, what it looks like, that needs to be upheld. And it's my responsibility to make sure that across the board, offense, defense, special teams, that's connecting. And then coupled with that, for these student athletes, they're dealing with more, I'd say outside distractions, the challenges that they have to face on a daily basis. I think that connection is critically important. And so it's been wonderful for me to be able to do that, to be able to meet them at where their needs are. And, I think it's really helped, just our program as a whole with me being able to have that flexibility.
You referenced the experiences of the good and the bad over the last couple of years. Is there a degree of trying to disconnect 2025 from any of that and let them just be themselves?
It's every bit. This is one team. This is one team, one season. Everybody that's a part of it, we all said yes. And, what the 23 team did is not going to affect the 25 team. What the 24 team did is not going to affect the 25. We've got to go be who we are. And, that's why even earlier you're talking about the confidence. Yeah, the confidence can be what we do. And you look at our football team. I mean, there is no player, not one, that has arrived as their final product. Right? Every one of these players are still on their own individual journeys to go be better, to be the best that they can be this year. Right? And we've got guys that have played a lot of snaps. We've played guys that I believe have great NFL careers, but it's the hunger and the desperation to go be all that they can be. That's the edge that I'm seeing them bring. And I'm grateful for every experience that they've had, the good and the bad, because they get to reflect back on that for what they're willing to do today to be able to make this to be able to maximize all that their potential is and to be able to go to all the places that they're capable of going. So our focus will be on this team, and but you can reflect on every experience. You get your butt kicked in the first quarter on a play, right? What are you going to do to make sure that there in the third and the fourth quarter that you are being the best that you can be in that moment?
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you guys.
Appreciate it, Mike.
All right, we'll spread the players.